Breakfast features a lot in art, particularly during periods when depictions of the everyday and the domestic have been in fashion. Artists have responded to the connection that the first meal of the day has with bed and waking, its possibly suggestive associations with the preceding night, and with the promise or the threat of the forthcoming day. Breakfast's family aspect is appealing, and so is its variable character as a meal, simple or elaborate, sociable or solitary, served early or late, sometimes over in seconds, sometimes lasting hours. This picture is called After Breakfast and was painted in 1890. It shows a young woman taking a moment after breakfast to sit and smoke, lost in her thoughts, in a blue and white room suffused with the soft light of morning. It is outwardly simple and calm, but for 1890 there are things about it that are daringly modern and quietly subversive. It pushes at the boundaries of gender roles and social expectations, and probes the tensions between order and disorder that underlie life's daily rituals. It was painted by the Finnish artist Elin Danielson. She was later known, after she married Italian artist Raffaello Gambogi, as Elin Danielson Gambogi, but this painting dates from 8 years before her marriage. Danielson was one of a remarkable generation of Finnish women artists who challenged stereotypes and pushed boundaries in many ways. She was born in 1861 in a small village in southwestern Finland and studied in Helsinki and in Paris. She moved to Italy upon receiving a scholarship in 1895, and most of the rest of her life was spent there. She died in Italy in 1919 of pneumonia. Elin Danielson was known for her depictions of everyday life, and particularly her depictions of women and children. Sometimes these images were provocative, challenging what was seen by contemporaries as acceptable: women smoking and playing cards, breastfeeding, the too sensuous depiction of the female nude. After Breakfast attracted criticism on just these grounds: the supposedly unfeminine behavior of its subject, its untidy, even rather squalid setting, and its suggestive atmosphere. And later in life, after her work had become, under the influence of her time in Italy, more romantic and idealized, Elin Danielson herself apparently regretted painting it. A young woman sits at table after finishing a breakfast of eggs, bread, and tea. She is smoking, with a box of cigarettes by her side, a glass ashtray in front of her, and the debris of the meal all around her. There is a flush upon her cheeks, and she is gazing into space, lost in her inner thoughts, her dark eyes focused on nothing. The picture is not a self-portrait. The model is the artist's sister, who also features in many of her other works, but you feel that there is a lot of the artist herself in it. She wears a light and simple day dress with lace collar and cuffs, and has quickly gathered up her dark hair at the back of her head and secured it with a band. Someone else, who seems to have been drinking a tisane, has been sitting with her, but that person has left, probably just for a moment, leaving their chair pushed back and their napkin crumpled on the cloth. The absent companion with whom she has been sharing breakfast is probably another woman, someone with whom she is sharing rented rooms, but we don't know that for sure, and this glimpse of morning intimacy invites speculation. The painting's narratives are as unsettled and open-ended as the scene of rather makeshift domesticity it depicts. The room has an artistic atmosphere. Perhaps the woman and her unseen companion are art students living in rented rooms in Paris, as Danielson was herself in the 1880s and 90s. 2 sketches in pencil or charcoal have been roughly pinned to the wall. One appears to be an interior, the other a figure study. The interior shows a figure sitting very upright at a table, in contrast to the casually relaxed and unself-conscious pose of the woman in Danielson's picture. The fan hung on the wall contributes to an atmosphere of fin de siècle aestheticism, as does the fashionable Oriental-style teapot and china and the untidily gathered flowers in the glass vase. But, with the exception of the 2 plates on which boiled eggs have been served, no single item on the table matches any other, and, amid the untidy leftovers and fragments of food, objects are placed in a seemingly random way on the cloth, creating a troubling sense of disorder. There is work to be done, clearing and washing up, putting things straight, getting properly dressed and preparing for the day. The kind of work society expects women to do, and this woman isn't doing any of it. She is just sitting there, thinking, and smoking a cigarette. Her companion was clearly smoking too. The cigarette has been left poised on the edge of the table. By the 1890s, acceptance of women smoking was increasing, but the sight of a woman smoking a cigarette remained for many a shocking and subversive one. To record such a sight in a work of art, without implying any sort of judgment on the behavior depicted, was also open to criticism as morally reprehensible. And Danielson is not shy about the smoking in this picture. The accessories of smoking are very prominent, the cigarettes themselves, the cigarette box, the ashtray, just as they are in another painting by Danielson which caused controversy, Aunt Balda's Pastime of 1886. The fact that this woman has her lips parted and is blowing smoke out into the room is another subversive detail. It is a claiming of the space around her, an assertion of her independence, and her disdain for social conventions and the judgmental gazes of others. Later in the 1890s, this type of woman would be labelled the new woman, seen by many as a threat to established society and its norms. A woman living an independent life, possessing ambitions and appetites and unafraid to act upon them, unconcerned about the opinions of others or the social values by which she is judged. A woman who gains an education and pursues a career. A woman who does not tidy up, who dresses how she likes, and who smokes. The demands of the day ahead, jobs to be done, journeys to be made, commitments, conversations, joys and anxieties are already encroaching upon this woman's stolen moment of quiet repose. She is preparing to meet them, but on her own terms.